If you have a website that has experienced a sudden drop in traffic from Google, or if you have a website that's being incredibly difficult and it won't index correctly in Google, this video is for you. I'm going to show you two techniques I use, or I guess two things I look at that are super important. Most of the time you don't have to worry about these things, but when things go wrong, you need to check here first before you start digging deeper. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Bruce. I've been doing SEO and digital marketing, affiliate marketing since 2015. I make these videos because I love this stuff, and maybe someone will see this and they can put some of my ideas into action in their own business. And this might be one that you want to save and then come back to when things break and aren't going correctly for your website. Okay, so what I'm going to start off with is talking about your sitemap. So you can find it on your website by going to your website.com/sitemap.xml, and then it might redirect you here. So I've got my agency site that I use as examples. I don't build links or try and rank for anything with this site, so I can show it to you. I don't care. I just use it as like a contact form, basically. So to find your sitemap, you go to your website and then you go /sitemap.com now, or .xml. Now this works really well on WordPress websites. On other websites, it might be a little bit more difficult. WordPress websites will usually have a plugin that makes it so it's easy to read a sitemap. I have been to some sitemaps where it's just a bunch of code and it's hard to read, but WordPress makes it easy for the most part. So you just go sitemap.xml. It may redirect you to sitemap_index.xml, and you'll see something like this. So the reason why this is important is because Googlebot, as well as the LLMs, the AIs, they still have to go out. You know, they didn't reinvent the internet. The AI still has to go out, just like Google, crawl the internet. It has to understand what web pages are about in order for it to be able to see if it's worthy of mentioning you in one of its answers when somebody uses it, right? That's where things like the sitemap come in, because the sitemap tell the bot where to go crawl things, right? And if you have a problem with the sitemap, most of the time this stuff works, right? So you're not going to need to look at this stuff most of the time. But when things go wrong, you need to check this out. So for me, I have just like the most difficult problem child website. It's just such a pain. It won't index. It's crazy. There's all these problems with it, but it's like this super powerful website. So it's like worth me to keep messing with it. So I have it hooked up to Google Search Console. Google Search Console is a free tool that you can hook up. It's like a webmaster tool. You go in and you can kind of see what Google thinks of your website. Sometimes you can find problems and fix them. So with my particular website, it wasn't indexing correctly. As a matter of fact, none of the articles were indexing. And I thought that was pretty crazy. The only thing that would index is the homepage. But like looking at Search Console, everything was fine. The sitemap, I submitted the sitemap and it was fine. But when I looked at my other sites, when you go into sitemap in Google Search Console, it'll show you things like this. Now, if you have, there can be other things in the sitemap. This is just kind of standard for just about every like WordPress website. You'll see this type of stuff. You can have a lot of other stuff in the sitemap, but I'm going to keep it simple for this video. But like this is like the basics, especially for a WordPress website. Like if you have an article, if you post an article on your website, it's got to show up as a post or a page. In order to get found in search engines, it's got to be a post or a page, and it has to be in the sitemap so it can be crawled, unless you want it no index so that it can't be found. But most of the time you want the article to be able to be found. So I noticed in all my other sites, when I would look at the sitemap in Google, and then I would in Google Search Console, and then I would click on that, it would show me these type of things. So in my problem child website, it could read this sitemap, but when I would go and I would click on it, nothing else would be there. And I'm like, that's weird. Where's the post page category and author sitemaps? Because when I would go to the problem child domain, it would look just like this. It's WordPress, it's on Yoast, and it would, I guess it didn't have this tag one, but it would look just like that. But in Google Search Console, I didn't see any of that. And so I was like, because you can submit your sitemap to Google Search Console. So what I did is I said, why is it not seeing all this, but it's giving me no errors when I submit the sitemap? Usually, this is the only time I've actually had this happen, where I did this, and for some reason, it didn't see all these other things, right? So I was like, well, what will happen if I just go ahead and submit that? So I submit that, and then all of a sudden, Google, it was fine. It said it could read the 4 or 5 posts that I've posted on this website. And I was like, huh. And then I went and did this. And then it was like, it gave me another green, I think it says yes, as in yes, it can read it. And so I manually submitted each one of these, and we'll see if that helps with indexing, but it's like, these things should have already been like readable by Google, but by submitting this. Like every other site I've ever worked on, you submit that and it finds these, right? You submit this page, and it's able to read these. For some reason, on this site, it wasn't. So I manually submitted these, and it seemed like Google liked it. So I'll keep you posted as to like if these things index. But sitemap problems they're important, because you get something wrong here, the bots, whether it's Googlebot or I don't know the names of these other bots. There's so many bots out there. I guess Bing bot or Microsoft bot or DuckDuckGo bot or the AI, so like a ChatGPT bot. They have to be able to come and crawl this stuff, because it's kind of like the roadmap and says, go here and look at these pages. And if there's a problem here, if it's broken, if it's not there, whatever, if there's a problem with this, then these bots can't read your website. If they can't read your website, they're not going to reference your website or cite it or whatever in their answers. They're not going to send you any traffic because they don't know what you're about. So, it can be random errors. Maybe you had a website redesign. Maybe you moved hosts. Maybe you changed a plugin. Maybe you changed the theme of your website. Random things can happen, and when when you have this like problem with your website, and you lose your rankings, or like you notice things are not indexing at all, or they're not indexing correctly, start with things like this. Start with your sitemap. Make sure that this is like kind of basic stuff, but it's that important. If you don't get the basics right, it doesn't matter everything else you get right. Like you got to be able to make sure that this stuff works and it's able to be read. And so that's an issue I had. It was weird. It was saying it was reading this, but then when you would click on it, there would be nothing there. And so I manually submitted each one of these, and Google gave me the green light on each one of those. So we'll see. The next thing that you want to check is your robot.txt file. Now, I'm not some robot.txt file expert at all. I'm not good at all with it. But what you can do is you can just go to your domain and robots.txt. This one on my agency site, it looks like this. And then, this is a standard one that I have on another website. And sometimes it looks like that. So what you want to look for is the disallow. Like, I think maybe you would you want to look for weird things that maybe you wouldn't want to disallow. Like if you're saying you're disallowing Googlebot or something like that, that's like saying Google, don't come here to my website. So you're going to have problems indexing and ranking in Google and even showing up at all if you're telling Google not to come to your website. So like this isn't exhaustive, like how to fix a robot.txt file. But you want to see if there's some weird stuff in here that you're like, why is that in there? If it doesn't look right, then you want to investigate that. So these things are basic. Most of the time, these things work. Most of the time, you don't have to worry about these. If your index, you're just not ranking well, that's usually other things like not enough links, not enough content, your entities are messed up, something like that. But this is when things go wrong and you're trying to troubleshoot. You want to start with the foundation stuff, and this is where I start. And when you have problems like this and you solve them, you can see your traffic change dramatically to the upside. If there's something blocking Google, and then you get that fixed, and Google's like, oh, this is a normal website that I can understand. I've seen websites really pop. But yeah, so I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you thought this was terrible and I don't know anything about robots.txt, give me a thumbs down. So I'll try and get better. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I will answer you. And if you care about your website enough to watch a video like this, then you need good website hosting. I'm going to leave a link below, my affiliate link to my favorite web host, WPX. They're the fastest WordPress web hosting, and they got the best customer service. When I have a problem with this, I get them on chat like that, so we get it worked on and fixed almost immediately. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.